Alright, well, hello everyone. Happy Monday to y'all. Just gonna wait to make sure I can hear myself over here on my end, and then we'll get into it. Hope everyone had a good weekend. It's good to be back. I'll show you guys some pictures here in a few minutes, but I was on a little road trip with Bryce and some friends. So I was actually away from the office again. Sounds like I can hear myself okay. If you guys are in chat and you want to let me know, in fact, let me get chat open. Awesome. Thanks, Jazz, for letting me know. So we're going to go through a couple of things here. First and foremost, as I said, I was actually out of the office once again, and I was on a little bit of a road trip with some friends from work and Bryce, who is my girlfriend, but she also is on our staff here at West Michigan Weather as a photographer and social media liaison. So we went to Kentucky, Mammoth Caves National Park, and then we went over to Gatlinburg and Smoky Mountains National Park for a couple days. So there's some views of that. And then we went down into Ohio, visited the Newport Aquarium and the Cincinnati Zoo. The aquarium was really, really cool. Definitely wants to make me visit visit the Georgia Aquarium for sure. So overall, just a really good time. Good to get out of the state and just have a good vacation. So that's where I have been. Aaron and Jacob said I sound good as well. Well, thank you very much. So the primary focus of this live stream is going to be to go over the school closing, or I'm sorry, school delay outlook that we have in place for tomorrow. Mother Nature just could not wait to to give us a risk. So kids went back to school today, and already we have a risk for some school delays tomorrow as some fog tries to settle into the area overnight tonight. So that's posted on our social media pages, but we're going to go into it a little bit more in depth here in this video. I want to cover the severe weather potential we have now for Wednesday with the severe weather outlook that the SPC has in place. And really quick, before we get into all of that, it has been 3 years since the August 24th, 2023 severe thunderstorm and tornado event that impacted our area. There's some pictures scrolling through on your screen from the 25th. In fact, there's Bill Steffen from Channel 8 talking to myself and one of the National Weather Service Mets who are out doing a damage survey on the 25th in Plainfield Township in Kent County. We were down there for several hours flying our drones and etc., helping the Weather Service. And the night before, we had been helping Plainfield Township Fire Department with their operations. Both Owen as a firefighter and myself, with Kent County Skywarn serving as the liaison between the fire department and Skywarn, and then just helping the incident commander by taking notes, talking to dispatch, that kind of thing. So it was quite a destructive event. It was really one of the events that led us to doing live coverage in a little bit of a different way than we did back then. We try to do live coverage for every severe weather event now, even if we don't have storm chasers in the field. And Jacob, our community manager, has been a big help with that. So it's hard to believe it's been 3 years, but it was definitely an event that I think brought awareness to a lot of Michiganders and certainly changed the way we view severe weather here at West Michigan Weather. So, yeah, it was quite the destructive event for sure, and unfortunately resulted in a couple of fatalities. uh, as that EF2 tornado moved through Weberville on the eastern side of our coverage area. So, or just outside our coverage area, I should say. So, um, quite the quite the event, needless to say. I'm sure many of you remember that. So, just wanted to kind of highlight that it's been 3 years. So with that, let's get into the school closing outlook for tomorrow. First and foremost, if you are not signed up for our new notification list, please do so. You can do so by going to westmichiganweather.net/closings and click this first button right here. It says check the latest outlook, and you can do that right there. And you can both view the latest outlook right here. And if you click on the home button up here, you can join the email list for free. If you join that email list and you download the Patreon app from the App Store or the Google Play Store, you can also get push notifications sent right to your phone so that you never miss one of these outlooks or any of our other forecasts. But let's just take a quick look at what we have for tomorrow. Again, this is for Tuesday, August 24th, 2026. And we are expecting some potential for isolated school delays tomorrow morning as fog settles into the region here. And so, again, I kind of mentioned towards the beginning of the stream, but Mother Nature just couldn't wait. Our students got one day back in the classroom before we have to start talking about school delays, school closing predictions here in the 2026-2027 academic year. And so that is what we have on the table again, as fog and perhaps even some locally dense fog moves into the area. And fog is really one of the, if not the hardest thing to forecast for when we're making these school delay predictions throughout the year, these school closing predictions throughout the year. It's a really tricky weather phenomenon to really nail down, especially on a localized basis like this. And a lot of the times, uh, we and even the National Weather Service have to rely on surface observations as that fog is intensifying to issue forecasts, issue dense fog advisories, that type of thing. So that really keeps our confidence on these types of events very low, and hence the probabilities on the lower side of things as well, until we start to get those really high confidence or high probability events rather. So let's take a look at this, and I'm going to pop this into a new tab here so that you guys can see it a little bit better. So like I was saying, our primary threat is that fog. So hence the fog icon here underneath primary threats. Confidence is very poor for this forecast, and it is really centralized along US 127 between Jackson and Harrison, really. There could be some fog elsewhere in the area as well, but confidence in the greatest aerial coverage or spatial coverage of that fog is highest really along US 127, especially near Lansing and Jackson. That's where I think we have the best potential for some locally dense fog. Models have been all over the place with fog. Some of our short-term models are in fact not really showing any fog hazards for tomorrow morning, and some are. So I'm honestly not even going to bother showing you the models. What we're going to do instead is actually look at the progression of the area forecast discussions from the National Weather Service in Grand Rapids to kind of give you an idea of the spread of those models, and despite the spread, what is kind of the most likely scenario. So as I wrote in the discussion, We're going to see high pressure slide out of the area. That's been really dominating our weather for the last couple of days, and it's been producing some gusty winds at times, some breezy winds at times. That's going to really kind of ramp down tonight and allow for the atmosphere to kind of settle. And then we're going to see temperatures and dew points, or the moisture content, get very, very close together. And when we have those, what we call dew point depressions, that are very close to zero, so there's almost no difference between the temperature and the dew point, you can have fog develop. And tonight is no exception, as those dew point depressions approach zero. And we can see that, I believe, in this forecast discussion as well. Support areas of fog developing after 6Z, which is 2 a.m. tomorrow morning, so Tuesday morning, as dew point depressions approach or reach zero. Again, that's the difference between the temperature and the dew point value. Okay. And then we'll have that inversion above the surface. We will likely have some cloud debris left over. So, again, the spatial coverage of the fog is really in question here. It doesn't look like this is going to be a widespread fog event. Um, but they do say there is enough of a signal to put areas of fog in the forecast, especially in those low-lying areas. And then they go on to say it could have some localized impacts to the Thursday morning commute. That was issued at 3 a.m. This morning. The aviation update at 6:40 a.m. this morning kind of continued that. So they're talking about airport forecasts here, and what we will likely see, with the exception of the Muskegon Airport, possibly dense fog at times, especially in locations like Jackson. And then they go on to say they'll continue to assess model guidance. We get to their afternoon forecast discussion update. Again, that upper low is wobbling east. The narrow surface ridge will wash across the lower peninsula tonight and early Tuesday, and that will bring the winds down, really calm over the area. And then they talk about that radiative cooling. Again, those dew points and temperature values being very close together will support some fog development. Okay, so again, not a lot of details there, but some fog still in the forecast nonetheless. And then the final update, which just came out a few minutes ago, says areas of fog will settle in overnight thanks to light winds, mostly clear skies, and ideal radiational cooling. And then they say instrument flight rule visibilities, meaning pilots have to use their instruments to take off and land and fly in the area, are likely between roughly 8Z, so 4 a.m., and 13Z, which is 8 a.m., at Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, Battle Creek, Lansing, and Jackson, before visual flight rules return following that fog kind of clearing out. So there is enough of a signal for fog that the Weather Service is putting IFR in their forecast, and there's enough of a signal, albeit very much broken and kind of all over the place in the models, for some fog development. And I think that is going to be maximized here in far eastern parts of our coverage area, along and really east of US 127, especially down near towards Lansing and Jackson. Could see some fog developing as far west as the US 131 corridor. But again, there's just not enough confidence there to highlight that at this point. I'll reevaluate things when the 0Z models finish up here. They should just be starting to run, but I'll defer to making any changes to this. But stay tuned to our social media accounts for potential expansions of this green zone, maybe slightly further west up towards that US 131 corridor later this evening, as the 0Z model suites kind of finish up. Um, but really bottom line, low chance for some isolated school delays, 2 hour delays, 3 hour delays, whatever the district opts for is possible. So, all right. And then with that, let me bring this over here. We're going to do our t-shirt giveaway winners. And I say winners, we have 3 t-shirts that we're going to be giving out. There weren't very many entries, so you guys have a good shot at winning. You'll have 24 hours if the wheel lands on your name to DM us, and I'll make sure I tag people on the relevant social media platform. But then from that point, you'll have 24 hours to get in touch with us to claim your prize. So let's go ahead and do the spin for the first t-shirt. T-shirt number 1, and you'll get a couple of different options, by the way, in terms of color and designs and etc. We'll go to Murphy Marie on Facebook. All right, so I'll make sure I tag Murphy, and I'm actually going to write these down so that I don't lose track. All right, so Murphy Marie is our first winner. We'll spin for t-shirt number 2. And ironically, it's the person right below them, so Gavin Brandt. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Congratulations on winning the second t-shirt. And t-shirt number 3. We'll go to Angie Croft. Okay, so those all happen to be from our Facebook platform, which is unsurprising given that's where the bulk of our entries came from. So thanks for entering that giveaway. I'll let you guys in on a little secret. There is one more giveaway we're going to do for August. Not sure what it's going to be yet, but stay tuned to our social media over the next couple of days as we wrap up our 7th birthday celebrations by kind of giving back to all of you as a way of saying thank you for supporting us over the last 7 years. So, and then of course there is still that 70% off sale going on for our Patreon. So if you want early access to these school closing and school delay outlooks for the day 1 period, you get these a couple of hours ahead of time. As you can see, this one out at 3:49 p.m. and it didn't release publicly until 7 p.m. You also get access to day 2 school closing outlooks and day 3 school closing outlooks, as well as a variety of other hazardous weather forecasts depending on what tier you sign up for. So, and right now with 70% off, with taxes and fees, I think you can get early access to at least the day 1 outlooks for as little as like 50 cents a month. So, and all that revenue comes right back in, and we just put it right back into things like doing more giveaways and paying for our weather software subscriptions that we see here, all kinds of things that we use those funds for that once again help us keep all of you informed. So finally, let's drop down to this, and we're going to take a look at some outlooks. This is our severe weather outlook for Wednesday. And you can see there is a kind of a broad level 1 out of 5 marginal risk in place for our entire area on Wednesday. And damaging winds are our main concern. There is some potential for some large hail as well as damaging winds as well, or for a tornado or two as well on top of those damaging winds. But as of now, there remains a little bit of question in terms of storm mode as to what the eventual outcome will be. So right now, the primary threat appears to be damaging winds, but we're keeping an eye on the large hail and tornado potential as well. See, the SPC has a 5 to 14% chance for any severe hazard within 25 miles of a point within that marginal risk area. Thankfully, as of now, we're not expecting any significant severe weather. However, the SPC did mention that a slight risk may be possible. They say at the moment, expected limited storm coverage precludes slight risk probabilities, but if storm coverage increases, so that is to say the number of storms in the area increases, there is a chance that we could see a slight risk introduced somewhere in this area here. So that could include parts of Michigan. So stay tuned for future updates. But that is the severe weather outlook for Thursday, or I'm sorry, for Wednesday. Just wanted to cover that here very briefly while we were live. So, um, if you want a t-shirt, I'm going to tag you guys here in the next couple of minutes. Thanks to everyone who participated. Stay tuned for updates to those severe weather forecasts, our school closing forecasts, and stay tuned for the final giveaway of our 7th birthday celebration coming to our social media accounts prior to the end of the month of August. So, once again, thanks everyone for tuning in. Hope you guys had a good weekend and have a great rest of your week ahead. We will see you all in the next live stream.